A history of cheating in cycling. The vast majority of this is taken from Carlton Kirby's book, Magic Spanner. Kirby is, of course, a well known and respected cycling and motorsport commentator. Number one, trains and automobiles. Maurice Garin won the first Tour de France in 1903. Kirby says he then fell victim to the winning and dining lifestyle. He spent a year being toasted and eating well. By the time the 1904 tour came around, he had put on a bit of weight and wasn't so fit. Miraculously, he managed to defend his title. What an achievement, Maurice. Kirby writes, the results weren't to last, however, because the French cycling union, l'Union Vélocipédique de France, decided to interview competitors and witnesses, and then, in December 1904, disqualified the first four finishers. The UVF never revealed its reasoning, but there are rumors of Garin taking a train. Things had to change, and for the 1905 tour, rules were tightened. There were also rumors of riders being pulled by cars or simply being driven about. The 1904 controversy and scandal damaged the reputation of the emerging sport. As Kirby puts it, sadly, cycling now had an image problem regarding its integrity. It still has. Number two, sheep. In more modern times, it's said racers in Ireland used to be able to hire a flock of sheep to help out. Apparently, in the 1970s, the going rate was equivalent to about €35, but that would have been about 20 punts. Timing was of the essence to pull this one off. The chosen rider made his breakaway ahead of the appointed location, whereupon a gate was opened and a flock of sheep went about their business, moving from one field to another via the country road that formed part of the course. Sean Kelly told me once, with a twinkle in his eye, that could gain a man as much as 10 minutes. I still don't know if he's pulling my leg on this one. Number three, the broom handle. While discussing time trials, Kirby writes, it's the race of truth, just one man against the clock, which gives it a certain purity. But if one rider has an outstanding ride, questions are sure to be asked. One such incident came in the milk race in the 1960s when one rider recorded an extraordinary time that had jaws dropping all the way down the tarmac. Nobody could work out how he'd done it. The secret came down to a simple broom handle. At any opportune moment, the broom handle was extended out of the team car's rear window and the end hooked behind the back of the rider's seat post. Obviously, rules had to be changed. Number four, classic doping. This is the elephant in the room. Pretty much everybody knows something about doping and cycling, but this is too much of a broad topic. There are several documentaries about it that you can watch. I would recommend these two books, Racing Through the Dark, The Rise and Fall of David Miller, and Rough Ride by Paul Kimmage. Doping in cycling goes way back. Apparently, in the 1923 Tour, Victor Henri Pellissier told a journalist that his winning strategy included cocaine in his eyeballs, chloroform on his gums, and horse ointment, whatever that means. Number five, accommodation doping. This term apparently came to prominence during the 2015 Giro d'Italia in relation to Australian pro Richie Porte. Kirby writes, rather than being billeted in hotels with his teammates, Porte had a luxury motorhome parked outside each of the overnight stops. It meant the same room and conditions for Porte throughout the race. All this without the need to pack, unpack, or check in anywhere. Luxury. Other teams objected. Small teams could not afford to copy the Sky model. After due consideration, in stepped the UCI and banned the practice. So there is now a detailed list of accommodation issued at the start of each race, which must be adhered to at all times by all teams and all riders. Number 6, helicopter doping. This one concerns the 1984 Giro d'Italia, which was being contested by Laurent the Professor Fignon, who had won the Tour de France the previous year, and local favourite Francesco Moser. Fignon complained the chains of Tifosi were cheating by pushing Moser up steep climbs, but his main grievance was the helicopter doping incident. Kirby writes, the final classification resulted on the results of the time trial from Soave to Verona, 42 kilometers of undulating twists and turns. Mosier set off ahead of Fignon and was duly followed by a low-flying helicopter, ostensibly there to take TV pictures, though others noted it seemed to be flying so low and so close to Mosier that the downdraft blew him along the road. Fignon set off from his start position but was now behind a helicopter. One aircraft was blasting Mosier along the road while the other was pushing me back, said the Frenchman, who now had to work twice as hard. Mosier won convincingly. In fact, his winning margin had everyone shaking their heads in disbelief. A similar technique has been employed in more recent time trials, with team cars riding up as close as they can get behind their rider. Everyone was asking, why the hell are the team cars getting so close these days? The answer is that a car driving between 40 and 50 kilometers produces a bow wave aero effect that pushes the air in front of it, helping the rider. There is now a 25-meter rule for following cars. Number 7, hair doping. This is a joke entry, really. This is more to address the question of why do pro cyclists shave their legs and or arms, especially when some studies have shown that the gains are negligible. Kirby clarifies this in his book. He writes, the true reason cyclists shave is to make massage less painful and wound dressing easier, and for purely aesthetic reasons. Number 8, Kirby refers to this one as the magic wheel. He writes, an aerodisc as the back wheel can have huge benefits to the aerodynamism of a bike. It is solid and opaque. Could this double-sided disc with a hollow core be used to hide the inner workings of a rogue wheel mechanism? Organizers insist that all the wheels are the same Mavic model to avoid any unfair advantage for a team using a more advanced wheel. There is, however, nothing in the rules that says a regular wheel cannot be employed inside a regulation disc wheel's void. There is a particular rear wheel that is rumoured to have been used at the very highest level. This wheel features a spoked wheel inside the regulation Mavic disc. At the heart of it was a magnetic hub with counterweights acting on the spokes, all nicely shrouded by the official solid aero cover. At speed, the counterweights disengaged from the hub and were flung out to the end of the specially strong spokes to sit at the rim of the wheel. This was said to have a gyroscopic effect, which added to the momentum of the turning wheel, thus giving the rider extra speed. When the rider slowed down, taking a corner for instance, the weights slid down the spokes and returned to the magnetic hub. Magic. With the absence of scanners at the time, it is extremely difficult to prove that this technology was ever used. But there had been considerable speculation in France that some of the top teams employed such a wheel, particularly after some jaw-droppingly fast time trials seen during major races on occasion. So this one's really all speculation. Number 9, mechanical doping. Mechanical doping is using any artificial drive system that may be hidden somewhere on the bike. Sounds a bit far-fetched, doesn't it? Yet, as Kirby writes, the discovery of a hidden motor inside the frame of a spare bike used by Femke van den Driessen at the U23 Cyclocross World Championships in January 2016 finally gave some credence to allegations that had previously been dismissed. E-bike technology is improving every year, so mechanical doping could be more of an issue in the near future. That's it. But if you're interested in cycling at all, or especially if you're interested in doing your own bike tour, and it doesn't have to be grand, I would recommend Tim Moore's books. Firstly, French Revolutions, Cycling the Tour de France. Next one is Geronimo, riding the very terrible 1914 Tour of Italy. And finally, Vuelta Skelter, riding the remarkable 1941 Tour of Spain.